John was always an old soul from day one. He loved hunting shows, loved old westerns, loved riding ponies.
From the photos, John Huizar's life looked like a lot of 15-year-olds, but just beneath the surface, he was struggling. He'd been diagnosed with manic depression, suffered from epileptic seizures, and in the fall was hit with a misdemeanor charge stemming from an incident at school.
We went in to see his therapist, and he told her that he put a gun barrel to his head. He said, "I'm angry, I'm sad, I don't know why, I just don't want to live."
John needed to be admitted immediately, but the nearest psychiatric bed available was 2 hours away in Grand Rapids at Pine Rest Hospital.
I could see it in his face, I could hear it in his voice. I knew he was hurting himself.
Ellie Stidd was a patient at Pine Rest too, and quickly became one of John's friends. But instead of getting better during his stay, she said John got worse.
How directly did he put it?
Like, I wish I pulled the trigger. If they were to send me home today, I'd kill myself.
He didn't just say it to her. Hospital records show John repeatedly told doctors, nurses, and psychiatrists throughout his 13-day stay that he remained suicidal. On his third day there, John told a doctor, "If you make me go home, I'll kill myself." Days after that, he told a nurse, "I just want to die. I should have pulled the trigger." Day after day after day, even on his last full day of treatment, John kept saying he would kill himself the moment I get out of here. But the next day, when he said those feelings were gone, Pine Rest released him.
And I got a call that said we're discharging. And I said, "I told you yesterday." He said, "I'm not ready to come home," that he was going to hurt himself. And she said, "We do not feel like he is a danger to himself or others." And I said, "And if I don't come pick him up?" She said, "That's child abandonment, and we will notify the authorities."
His mother picked John up that afternoon and took him to his grandmother's home. That night, just hours after he was released, John put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
John's sudden death was not a secret to the state officials who regulate Pine Rest. The hospital notified them of his suicide just days after it took place. But despite all the red flags surrounding his death, the state asked no questions about his care or release.
In this case, it appears very clearly that the ball was dropped and a 15-year-old boy is no longer with us.
We shared John's hospital records with Tom Watkins, who spent 4 years running the Detroit-Wayne County Mental Health Authority.
It shouldn't be, oh well, stuff happens, and move on. A life was lost, and it appears that it could have been prevented.
As we've reported, the state has failed to investigate virtually every patient death reported to them since at least 2016. And in March, our reporting prompted lawmakers to introduce bills that would change that, requiring every death be looked into. The pandemic stalled the bills in committee, but now that could be changing.
I think that this bill is exactly what we need to do to help make sure that we get better in the future.
Senator Kurt Vanderwall chairs the Health Policy and Human Services Committee in Lansing and called the legislation a top priority.
The intention is to make sure that we investigate so that we can do a better job. And we owe it to those patients. We owe it to the people that love them and surround them.
9 months since John's loved ones buried him, they say they're no closer to understanding why they ever had to.
That's the part that gets me the most, is he was going out of his way to vocalize it, to try to get someone to listen. The people who were supposed to be listening the most didn't listen.